What's good with it in the hood with it? Welcome back to the Collective Clips where you already know we get it in. But before we get it in, let's hit that like and subscribe button. Ding! Put your notification bell on all so that way you're directed in the direction of the dope content I'm kicking. And I highly appreciate all the support, man. We're going up on this channel and it's all because of you. And for that, I am very humbled, man. Gracias. Thank you guys so much. There's a lot of shit going around, man, about Lazy Boy and Lefty Gunplay and Lefty Gunplay and Lazy Boy and who really has the say-so or the smarts, the intelligence, you know, to dictate someone else's program, right? Now, I don't know about you, but I've been around quite a long time, several decades. So I've known the twists, the turns in the game for a very long time. And I can tell you guys right now, straight up, no one man, unless he's that man, is able to dictate the next man's program unless you allow it to happen. Okay, when Lazy Boy went on No Jumper and did this interview, everybody's fucking pantalones went on fire. Everybody was upset for one reason or another, whether it was guys from up north saying, hey, homie shouldn't pull up down south. That's not our land. There's nothing going out there. There's no reason for the homie to go out there. Or rather it be Southsiders saying, you know what? We can't allow Norteños to plant a flag or to establish here because at the end of the day, man, this is our barrio, our hometown, our whatever, right? And, you know, that's just the way it goes. That's that old way of thinking coming into play. That's that old way of thinking still holding precedence or still holding fucking merit over everything. Now, trip out on this. Most of this generation and these youngsters that are going back and forth saying these things don't know what guerra is. Haven't really been involved in the true meaning of guerra and what it was all about. I was, man. And I'm going to tell you right now, that's just for the birds, not the Huelga nor the jaybirds, right? It's for a whole different situation. You see, when I was young, I was told, you know, about Southern California and how about that was not our grounds. Those were the enemies. Those were the guys from the other side. That was a situation we shouldn't pass the linea of Bakersfield, California, because everything that way, man, was no good. Everything that way was opposite to what we were pushing. Everything that way was totally different from us. And I was under the assumption, without really having seen it with my own two eyes, that that's exactly what it was, because that's what I was being told. That's what was being indoctrinated into me. That's what was being bred into the homies that were coming up. Down south was not for us. Okay? Now, at the same time, the Southerners were being told something totally different. They weren't being told Northern California isn't for them. They were being told that they needed to establish strongholds in Northern California. You know, move wherever you're going to move. Just let it be known where you're from. Never forget where you come from. And I understand that. I understand that. That's where the two different groups differ. And there's various other ways that they differ. But that's how North and South differs. Where Norteños were being told, that's not our land, homes. That's not our people. Let them vatos do them. We do us. If we catch them slipping coming up north, we handle our business. Down south, they were not paying attention to Norteños. Let's just keep it real. They didn't care what was going on in Northern California. About the closest they got was a Too Short song or an E40 song. They didn't give a fuck. They could care less because they had so much barrio warfare going on in Southern California, so much pleito with different black gangs and Mexican gangs that they could care less. Now, when you became incarcerated, when you were behind walls, whether it was juvenile hall, youth authority, whatever it may be, where you came into contact with the other side, then you were supposed to handle your business because this is what you were taught. This is what we were being laced with as we were young, that these guys were willing to fucking body you. So you had to body them first. Okay, there was no half-stepping when it came to the North and South situation. It wasn't, oh, we could probably be cool or maybe not. It was on site. It was get off where you were mad at. And believe me, those limits were tested when I was sent down to Southern California, and I was nervous. I was upset at the fact that I was having to go, you know, far away from my family, far away from my native lands where I'm from. But at the same time, I was prepared for whatever may come. Or was I? One never knew, does one? But I knew for sure I had no choice. You know, that's one thing about getting incarcerated is you lose the right to choice. You lose the right to go wherever they put you. They're going to just fucking sit you down where they sit you down, sentate. And that's just it. Now, it's up to you on how you carry yourself and how you treat others with respect, regardless of where they're from. See, I was always told as a norteño when I was striving, you know, I'm non-active now, but when I was striving, I was always told respect others, especially those of a Latin descent. Raza, those you felt that were worthy of the cause. You know, I always respected my enemy because at the end of the day, if you don't respect your enemy, they are not your enemy. You know, you respect worthy adversaries. And it's an understanding that it's business and nothing personal. Sometimes it becomes personal and then it is what it is. But for the most part, it's usually business because I don't know them vatos and them vatos didn't know me. But all we knew was we were enemies because older vatos, different situations told us. And that's it. We were going to mind somebody. Every man has to when you're incarcerated. There's no questions asked. Whether you're a wood brother, you're black, you're brown, everybody is going to take dictation for somebody. Everybody's going to listen or you're in jeopardy. And that's it. Now, let's fast forward to years later. When a lot of us from my generation have woken up, we realize exactly what it is now. We realize there really isn't too much of a difference. Doesn't matter if I'm in LA or if I'm in San Francisco. Doesn't matter if I'm in Fresno, Tulare County, or I'm over there in San Diego. To me, it's all the same. They might have better tacos in some places. The chicks might be a little bit more wanga. But at the end of the day, it's all the same. We're all brown. We're all going through a struggle. We're all just trying to get by, man. It's not us against us. It's us against them. Them, I'll let you figure that out because I don't want to be called a racist, right? But I'm just saying, at the end of the day, we go through a lot of the same struggles, north and south. So Lazy Boy going on this No Jumper podcast, which really isn't too much of a big deal. It's just another Chicano, a young Chicano trying to push his music, trying to tell his story. You know, Adam allowed him to do that. Now, we all understand that Adam is and always will be considered a threat to the cultura and to the community because he tries to basically fucking put people in a bind, pit people against each other, push his agenda for views and for money. And at the end of the day, you can't be mad at him for doing it because it's up to you if you choose to sit down on his podcast and say what you're going to say. If he asks the questions, doesn't mean you have to answer them. So he asks his few questions or whatever. At no point in time during that interview did I hear Lazy Boy from Sanjo ever disrespect the Sul. Now, Adam might have baited him into a question onto whether the Southsiders are trending towards the Northern stilo. And he might have said, yeah, and I think that was old ways of thinking. You know, Norteños are very prideful people and they speak their mind, just the same as Southsiders, right? And there's always going to be that little bit of, you know, hatred or animosity there, regardless if you've done time with the Vatos or not and played handball together and busted a spread. You're still going to always think that you're primera. But that's the way a Mexican thinks. Not the way a Norteño thinks, not the way a Southsider thinks, but the way a Mexicano or Raza Chicano think. We always think we're better than the next one. That's what we were told. That's in our blood. It's instilled. It's tribalism. It comes from way back in the days, in the indigenous days, man, where every tribe, every group, every entity thought that they were better than the next one. Isn't that how we think in our barrios? If you're from 18, or you're from San Fernando Mission, or you're from Salas East Marqueta, or you're from fucking Barrio Sanjo, or you're from West Side Merced Dead End, or you're from fucking San Diego Red Steps, or you're from White Fence, or whatever gang it may be throughout Northern Southern California, Fresno Bulldogs, don't we always think our barrio is number one? Can't no one fuck with us? We got certified steppers. We got real ones in our hood, shooters, hitters, all that. That's because that's the mentality we have, is that no one can fuck with us and ours. Okay, well, that's the same way when it comes to the North. The North is always going to say they're number one. The South is always going to say they're number one. And at the end of the day, it's up to those individuals to figure out exactly who is and what it is. You know, I could sit here and argue the good points and the bad points of everything, but it doesn't matter because you can't convince someone who's already convinced otherwise. That's a fact. So anyway, Lazy Boy going down south didn't do it in a disrespectful manner. You know, I heard so many people say, well, he wasn't flamed up. He was undercover. I mean, he has a fucking 14 on his face. He has several tattoos and indicators, and everybody knew a week prior that this Vaulta was going down there. Everybody knew what time it was. Now, it's not on the Southsiders, oh, we should have dealt with that. We can't let Norteños go. There's Norteños down there right now, bro. Disneyland, Knott's Berry Farm, the Grapevine, hoping they don't crash. I mean, there's always going to be Vaultos taking care of their business. I got familia en Wilmas, Compton. You know, I go down there several times a year just to visit. I don't do it disrespectful. Sometimes I have a red shirt on. Sometimes I don't. Just depends on how I fucking feel that day and what matches the Jordans. You know, but when I know I'm going into someone else's backyard, I'm going to do it respectfully. You know, I'm not going to stir up attention, and I'm going to understand the situation I'm in and that I'm outnumbered, but I'm never outclassed, right? I'm outnumbered, and I'm not going to fucking just, you'd be a dumbass and really be slipping if you were to go down there trying to floss and gangbang and throw up signs. For one, it makes you look like a poop, but it doesn't make you look cool, bro. You don't look cool in a casket, right? Another thing, man, a real guy who carries himself for professionalism and knows how to act in every situation. And also, man, I didn't see no scary looks or I just seen people that looked aware, people that they knew where they were at. They respected it. Now, out of left field is coming Lefty Gunplay, right? And Lefty Gunplay is that one now in Southern California. He's the new it rapper, the youngster. But really at the end of the day, Lefty, and I'm going to keep it real, this is a direct message, not a direct shot. You know, really how far are you going to get in the game pushing gang ties, pushing certified gang membership, pushing that? All that is a case of dry snitching on yourself. I'm not saying he's telling on anyone else. I'm not saying that he's that type of way. But at the end of the day, man, you're only validating what the authorities want you to validate. So that way, when you are re-incarcerated, re-locked up, if that ever happens, hopefully it doesn't, right? Now, there's no way you could fight the validation. There's no way you could say, no, I'm not part of nothing, right? Because you said it a million times in every song on every podcast that you're really about that life. You're a real gang member. Well, let me tell you what that real life entails. That real life doesn't entail driving a Maybach or having gold chains or getting fucking a mamon from different chicks every night. It doesn't entail tight pants with holes in them or getting tattoos on the back of your head. I'm going to tell you what it entails. It entails hardship, struggle, strife, and turmoil, man. It entails going on that fucking yarda homes and not knowing if you're going to get your cat peeled back or you're going to have to fucking wax someone. It entails being a certified trooper on that yard, not on the streets. It entails the streets don't count. Only what happens behind them walls and the content of your character is what counts. Anyone who's laced up and educated enough to know knows that. So, if you've done time and you've been around certified steppers, real ones on 4 yards, then you have to carry yourself a certain way. You can't get out and crash out and can't figure out an answer to a question, so you just end it with, fuck it, I'm a gang member. You can't do that because at the end of the day, not only are you telling on yourself and putting yourself in a predicament that could somehow catch up to you later on, just as C-Mac, but you're also involving your group. See, a group is never to be spoken on, period. The ins and outs and the ways of the wiggle of what's going on. You can't be something that doesn't exist. Do you understand? You can't be from somewhere that's not supposed to be spoken on. That's just what it is. Now, when it comes to Lazy, I think he understands the situation. For someone that hasn't done a lot of time incarcerated, he's being laced up by some real ones. I'm not saying that Lefty hasn't. I'm saying Lefty has decided to do what he wants to do and say what he wants to say. I guess in order to be the face of LA nowadays, you have to be flamboyant and just speak your mind. Now, I've seen a lot of autos from Los, right? A lot of real ones that never put themselves out there, never did that. You knew they were from LA just by the way they carried themselves. With dignity, class, respect, professionalism. Every Vaulto I ever did time with in LA, they carried LA proud, homes, whether it was taqueated across their chest, their head, their back, whatever. You knew they were from Los. They didn't have to say it over and over again. You knew they were from Southern California. They didn't have to say it over and over again. By the way they carried themselves on that yarda, let you know exactly what time it was. See, real recognizes real, whereas steel sharpens steel. You know exactly what it is with a real one. You can tell, homie. They don't got to tell you over and over again. Okay? They just show you by the content of their character and by the work that they put in. That's a real certified stepper. That's a real one. Now, Lazy Boy goes down there, and for some reason, this got under Lefty Gunplay's skin. I don't know, maybe it's because he wasn't getting the amount of attention he's used to at this point. And I'm just keeping it real, man. I support Lefty Gunplay in his endeavors and in his music. I love his music. He's crazy, man. Like I said, he reminds me of myself, the way he gets down, and he's just a nut like that. But at the same time, trip out. He's spoken on a lot of different people, a lot of different situations. You know, I've seen interviews where he's disrespected Borque, you know, New Mexico, Texas, Northern California, Norteños, righteously, and not just one individual, but the whole group as a whole. And you can't do that, bro. You're not supposed to do that, especially someone who did time amongst Norteños, functioned on the yard with them, knows what time it is, knows the get down, man. It's like you're kind of being a hypocrite to the situation. You can't go in there and kick, because if you were that mad, you should have got off where you were mad at, right? If you were that mad at the Northern cause, then you had plenty of an ample of an opportunity. It was nothing but air and opportunity there to fucking get off. See, I've been around Southsiders that wouldn't function with Northerners on the yard. They got off on site and got off on site and got off on site, and vice versa with Norteños. Look, let me tell you, there was a homeboy. I'm going to quick little side note before we get to the gist of the conversation, but there was a homeboy, man. He was a black homeboy, solid, right? He's still around. You know, I'm not going to say his name, but he'll remember because he'll watch me. He was solid as fuck. And we were down in Ellis and whatever, and we got separated. He ended up going to, I think, DeWitt or Chad. I went to Preston, and from Preston to Carl Holton. This is in the Youth Authority. Now, in Carl Holton, it wasn't on site north and south. We were functioning on the same compas in the same buildings. And yeah, there was some fucking running up in sales and handling business. And if there was an issue, we handled that issue. But for the most part, everybody was just trying to program and get on. You know, we realized that we could get a lot more accomplished just fucking putting shit to the side and doing our time. Because guess what? Administration wasn't going to separate us no matter how hard we tried or how many bodies got pushed up out of there. It was going to continue to be, they were going to bring more buses from the south and more homies were going to be there established. So we learned to not work hand in hand, but to respect each other's space and each other's get down. As long as no one disrespected and no one mean mugged, homies, there wasn't going to be no fucking issues. Okay, so we were at that point. The homeboy comes from Chad. They put him in the day room. He doesn't know what time it is. He just came from an institution. Now, every place is different where it was on site. Get off where you're mad at. You see a Southsider, you rush them, right? And as soon as a couple Southsiders came from working in the kitchen through the day room, this Vato jumped up and got to mollywhopping people, slamming them, whatever. We're banging on the window like, no, bro, no, it ain't that serious. Not because we were scared, but because, man, that wasn't the issue. He didn't know. Nobody was in the wrong there. Them Southsiders, they knuckled up, handled theirs. He handled his. He ends up getting shipped back to Chad, and that was that. We didn't see the homie. We weren't able to game him up. He wasn't of an understanding it was guerra. Okay, Lefty Gunplay comes from an area or a prison sentence where it wasn't guerra. It was working hand in hand, doing business on the yard, and end the hostilities. So you would think that he should know what's up. You know, in most cases, when you're pushing your music and you're trying to get your bag, when people try to steer you in that situation, you can't sit there and say, oh, I don't speak on prison politics. That's not me. I'm out here. But then talk about, you know, Norteños and disrespecting when you're from Southern. You're not from Northern California. Now, I can understand Chito or an upstater saying that. Disrespecting the Norte. Quit. That's their thing. That's their enemy. They're disrespecting their enemy. They have to see them every day, right? But when you've never seen Norteños besides being incarcerated, when you say, oh, we don't care about them Vatos, they're not down here. We ain't going to go up there. They're not going to come down here. Why are you so upset when one does come to do an interview? You know, you don't see the Norteños getting upset when Dopey went up there and did a video in San Francisco or when Conejo does his things. You know, there are situations where Vatos do trip. That's individual shit. It's just going to happen, bro. But business is business. You know, it's not like Vatos are trying to plant flags and, hey, we're right here now. We got a audio. It's just a damn interview. It's not a big deal. Anyways, now it's gotten to the point where they have disrespected Lazy Boy and Lefty have disrespected each other on IG back and forth. I'm sure there will be diss songs coming out and all that. And now Lazy gets his pass pulled. He is no longer allowed to go to LA. Sorry, I said no Disneyland for you in the OC, in the big OC, right? He's not allowed to go have one of those good ass drinks at Knott's Berry Farm. You can't go ride the whatever homes at fucking Magic Mountain. You are not allowed. I said, do you hear me? No, I said you can't go to Santa Monica and walk the fucking pier. Why? Because Lefty Gunplay said so. Or will he go? One never knows, does one. Let me explain something to you. One man doesn't call the shots for Southern California, especially not a rapper on the streets. We all know who says what. The inside runs the outside. We all know who runs the show down there, right? Without having to speak on it. Now, with that being said, that's disrespectful to your gente to say, oh, this Vaulto's not going to fucking come down here or else. Or else what? You basically alerted the authorities to exactly what will happen if he comes down there. He can't come to LA. Or what? What's going to happen to him, bro? You're a rapper. You're supposed to be touring and making money, bro. You're basically saying some harm or some ill is going to happen to this guy. He's not allowed. Not allowed, why? You know, I seen an interview where you were like, I won't go to Sacramento, fuck that, unless I'm with Lavish D. Who says that the Norteños are going to allow you to? As a man, you're thinking, hey, bro, I'm going to go where the fuck I want to go. No one tells me where I can't go. So what makes you think that you can tell Lazy where he's going to go or where he can't go? It's not the way it works nowadays, bro. I laugh at these children that think, and I'm not disrespecting Lefty Gunplay, but I'm saying I laugh at these children that think, hey, that they have the power to pull your card and to say you can't go wherever you want to go. Anyone can pull up wherever they want to pull up. Now, will there be repercussions? Maybe some people will trip. Maybe. Maybe so. But all that does is continue to push that wedge in between Northern and Southern California Chicanos, bro. And it shows a vast difference in the ways of thinking. You know, anyone on each side, if you're a youngster and you think you are that one that have never really been that one to say you can't come or else what? What you gonna do? Try to stick your thumb in my butt? Get the fuck out of here, right? That shit ain't gonna work. I'm just saying this, bro. Who would even have the audacity to speak on that? See, remember there was a guy that was speaking on shit like that and saying things like that. Got a little too big for his britches. Got a little bit of money, a little check-in, a little new car, and thought he was trying to make people check in, named Swifty Blue. Remember? Where's he at now? Nobody likes him. Somewhere in fucking wherever he's at, you know, not able to go back to his hood. There's just a lot of situations. Do you understand? When you open your mouth and you say things that you are not prepared to fulfill or handle, there's Vaultos that are in a real way that really will tell you where you can and can't go, feeling some type of way. It doesn't matter who you think you were while incarcerated. This is the streets, homie. You know, this is 3 hots and a cot. This is your parole spot for the next 6 months, right? You're going to have to understand that there's authorities, there's people watching. And when you're out there running your mouth and saying, hey, this fucking dude can't come because he disrespected me. And so you want to take your ball and go home. Hey, if you have an issue with that man, you tell that man personally. You bring it to that man. You don't make it a whole big thing. You don't make it an East Coast, West Coast rivalry. You don't involve a lot of people in your bullshit, because what that does is it makes you look like a poop butt, like you can't handle your own business. I'm just saying, you know, with no disrespect and no backing up the North, because, you know, if Lazy also did say some derogatory things towards Lefty, you know, he knows how to get in. Them dudes, I'm sure, know how to get in contact with someone who knows how to get in contact with someone who knows how to get in contact, right? I'm just saying all that. Hey, your card is pulled. You're not allowed to come to Southern California. That Vaulto's going to take a picture with Mickey Mouse ears here in the next few days. I promise. Look, when you challenge someone like that, and when you say it out loud, and especially to social media, man, that's only alerting authorities to, if some harm comes to this guy, they're going to blame you. Think about it. I'm just saying, man, I think it's all bullshit. I think two skinny-ass young rappers, man, arguing over a whole lot of nothing, over a fucking interview because a Norteño got interviewed. He wasn't even the first fucking active Norteño to go on that podcast. Everyone thinks he was the first active Norteño. There was one prior to that, bro, that went on there, sat down right with Adam, and no one even knew it. I'm just saying. With that being said, man, Lefty, get your shit together, homie. You're a great rapper. You're talented. You're coming up. But don't speak on gang business like that and say, hey, this Vaulto, he's not allowed. Remember when fucking, what's his name? Swifty said Kanye West is not allowed in L.A. Kanye was at the fucking awards in L.A. like this. Where was Swifty? In New Mexico. Stop it. With that being said, I hope that you move smooth with a purpose. Get everything that you want coming. And remember, at the end of the day, it's all about the strive, the struggle, the struggle, the strive. I'm going to continue to give it to you uncut and raw, man. With no disrespect, because I like Lefty Gunplay and I like Lazy Boy's music as well. But at the same time, man, this is just some frivolousness and some bullshit, man. And they're trying to bring gang ties into it, trying to make it a North and South thing. And it ain't that, homie. It really isn't that. You know, when are you going to be a man first before a gang member? When are you going to be a man? It takes a man to know what to do. You know, you got to be a man. And if you don't like someone, Holmes, there's ways to handle it or ways to not handle it and just walk away from the situation. But when you're constantly throwing shit out there like, hey, this or that, thumbs up or thumbs down. Heavy's going to be the head that wears the crown. I'm going to continue to strive, struggle, and strive for what I truly and honestly believe in, and that's the betterment of all people. We will never, as a raza, be able to figure it out and get it together, man, when you have motherfuckers like this that can't get it together. Bang, bang.